Give me a minute. I want to talk about recently declassified assessments of Russian losses in Ukraine that the United States intelligence has released. Now, there's a lot of people out there going down the list, checking off the numbers: 315,000 casualties, 87% of the original army, more than half the tanks, yada, 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 right? The list goes on and on and on and on and on and on. Of course it does, because the Russians are losing so badly. The problem is they've got 80 years of Soviet stockpiles to burn through. And of course, they don't care how many people they burn through. So far, according to those declassified military experts in the US, the losses are 10 times the number of KIA and WIA that the US had in 20 years in Iraq. 10 times in less than 2 years. It's insanity. If they stay here as long as we stayed in Iraq, their losses, I mean, you can't even think about it. And still they persist in this unprovoked war of aggression, this genocidal holocaust against the people of Ukraine. Just last night, a missile struck here in Kyiv, just 400 meters from the apartment of some friends of mine. My friend told me how she was in the hallway at 4 a.m., her 6-year-old daughter in her arms, while her 12-year-old took care of the cat. So look, anybody, we talk a lot about hardware losses on this channel. I'm not going to bore you with the long list that's been rubber stamped by the Pentagon now, so we can believe the Ukrainian numbers, because they're just about the same, by the way. Rather, I'm going to encourage you to think about what it means. What does it mean that these numbers are out? What can we learn from this? What we learn from this is that every meme, every politician who gets up there and says, "Where's our money going? We don't know what we're getting for our money," they're full of shit. They know exactly what they're getting. The demilitarization of the greatest enemy we have, the greatest enemy, the greatest threat to the rules-based international order that there is. An unchecked, homicidal, genocidal lunatic who is happy to plunge the world into war if it serves his needs. Make no mistake. So when some politician gets up on the stump and says, "We shouldn't fund Ukraine, we spent all this money," you can remind them that all that money is less than 5% of 1 year's defense budget. You can remind them that all that money, 70 billion of it, went right back into U.S. defense contractors' pockets, providing good paying jobs in 38 states, probably the state that son of a bitch who's trying to railroad you represents. And anybody who passes around these memes who says, "We don't know what we're getting for our money, we don't know where the money went," they're useful idiots of our enemies. They are not paying attention, because we know where the money went. We know what we get for it. And God damn it, it is the best money we have ever spent. Make no mistake.